Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're glad that you're able to join us this evening. My name is David Grindle. I'm the Executive Director of USITT. For the sake of housekeeping, I need to remind you to take a moment and notice the nearest exit. Should we need to have an evacuation, please move safely and orderly to the nearest exit, which should be to your left or right. We have an exciting evening planned for you tonight. In a little while, we're going to honor this year's young designer and technicians. But first, before we honor the newest in our industry, we should hear from the wisest in our industry. Let me introduce you to Lynn Auerbach, Laura Crow, Michael Ramser, and the chair of the USITT Fellows, Randy Earle. Randy?
It's good to see all of you. Just one word of introduction. We are making a change this year. We do not have a Fellows address. We're trying something new. We are going to have a Fellows conversation. And we have lots of hopes that this is really going to be a new model for this particular evening so that we can converse with you and with ourselves. And I would appreciate at some point your coming to our Fellows Nexus tomorrow or Saturday morning and let us know how you feel about this. Did it work for you? Do you really miss the Fellows address? And we'll see if we can do something about that. So without going beyond that introduction of what we're doing and why, let me say that tonight we are going to discuss a topic on collaboration, myth or reality. That's a question. Is it a myth or is it real? And I am so honored to have three of our most distinguished fellows with me, and they will be here to express some views and share them not only with you, but with each other. We are hoping there will be no fisticuffs. Leave the water here. Keep your hands down. But there will be some conversation between us, and we hope also maybe there will be a little controversy. Who knows? Controversy is healthy. There's nothing wrong with that. We are going to begin this evening with Lynn Auerbach, and I'll do the introductions now rather than breaking it up. Lynn Auerbach is design director and chairman of Auerbach, Pollock, and Freelander Theater Consultancy in San Francisco, founder of the firm, and he is certainly a leader in the world of theater consulting. We are also joined by Laura Crow. She is a professor of stage costume at the University of Connecticut, and an internationally known and recognized costume designer with hundreds of productions and awards, and we are delighted to have you to represent the field of costume design in general. And Michael Ramser, last but not least, professor of drama at Stanford University, lighting designer, director, I believe, of production is the title, in addition to which Michael is currently on the XCOM of USITT and is a past president of USITT. So we have a highly distinguished panel, people talking to each other, talking with us, talking to you, and I want to thank all of you for being part of this conversation. I have some questions. Maybe you can answer them. We all say collaboration is good, it's essential to our work, but do we really need it? As I look through websites, I read CVs, I go through grant requests, I tell you the word, I collaborate with others. We are known for collaboration. These words are used constantly to tell us what's good about a person or a firm. So, but the question is still there. It's good and it's essential, but do we really collaborate? Are people telling the truth? That's the question. When it does happen, how does it happen? Is there a magic formula for collaboration? I'm not certain, but that's a question. That's not the answer. We cannot do our work creatively without collaboration, whether it's two people or a team of several dozen. I'm not sure that the number of people collaborating is as critical as the fact that it happened. And it's important because we have all worked in theater, just like you. And I will tell you, from my point of view, the one thing about theater that I really hate, I hate surprises. I hate changes that I should have played a role in discussing, which suddenly come to me at the last minute. I'm sure you don't agree, but that's...
You should never be a costume designer.
I was a lighting designer. I was an idealist. I hate changes, but we have to deal with them, don't we? Every day. And so that is just a brief introduction to what we're talking about. I'm not here to do anything other than moderate and break up any fights. So going on, I believe Len is going to lead off.
Well, you know, I think it's it's important that we understand what collaboration really means. And being a theater consultant with all the various disciplines that we have to deal with, I'm sitting here, as usual, in the middle.
Good.
The theater consultant is always in the middle, and I express that to my clients when they get a little bit concerned with each other. And when I say each other, the other members of the design team, the architect, the owner, the production company, and when they become a little bit out of sorts, it's the role of the theater consultant to take a collaborative position of bringing all the disparate parties together to get an end result. Now, we all feel that we can do it. We can do what we do very well. We all have talent and skills, and we feel very confident. And confidence is a very important part of collaborating, but you have to realize no matter what your skill is, you can't do it alone. Whatever we're doing. And just as we were talking this afternoon, and I said, a soprano can't do it without the libretto. The actor can't do it without the playwright, neither can the designers. And there is a certain aspect of hierarchy that in any kind of assemblage of people that are trying to get to an end product, whether it's doing a production or planning and building a new theater or a complex of theaters or whatever it might be. And it's different almost in every situation. And we've had the privilege of doing quite a bit of work throughout North America, but we're doing quite a bit of work internationally, which means that we have to be sensitive to the cultural differences as well, and really respect that, and respect each other. And we find that it can be very, very frustrating, but it is part of what we've been hanging our tag on as collaboration. It's really a working process to get to the end, and it requires a lot of respect and sensitivity. And I think I'm going to let Laura...
My next one.
We'll move on to the costume.
And then we can batter back and forth.
Right.
Well, you know, it's interesting being a costume designer because I not only collaborate with a scenic designer, a lighting designer, a sound designer, and a director, I collaborate also with the actor, which is a very big part of my job. I'm actually a psychiatrist at heart, kind of maneuver them around. And one of the main things I do is take the director's vision into the actor's life, because the actor often doesn't know what the director wants from them. So I facilitate that a lot. I also get it stuck with producers. You were talking about producers one time. I did a production with Linda Lavin years ago, and Mike Nichols was directing. Mike Nichols happens to be married to Diane Sawyer. And at dress rehearsal, Diane Sawyer comes over and says, you know, I don't think that 1950s look is good on Linda. I saw this thing over at Bloomingdale's the other day. I think you should try going on it. You know, that's the trouble with modern dress. Everybody thinks they can design modern dress, and you get it from every single person. It's much easier to design period clothing Anyway, okay, I'm talking collaboration. Some of my favorites are actually with lighting designers, and I actually don't understand why lighting designers aren't the first people to work with the director, because lighting is most closely aligned with direction. You create the emotion, you create the nuance in the production, and I find that I want to show them my fabrics right away. They never listen. They never look at them. You still get into the theater and all the things are the wrong color.
Some are red, some are yellow, some are blue. We've seen it before.
Right. Same palette.
I did this production of Magic Flute years ago at Connecticut Opera, and it was when hazers were first in. So the lighting designer had done all this beautiful kind of cathedral ceilings with light shafts through the haze, and we had the Queen of the Night sort of emanated light. She became this. She was fiber optics, and she sort of appeared from behind this light curtain, and everyone went. But also, Monostatos walked on, and he had on a copper cape. And I went and talked to the lighting designer. I said, "What's with the copper cape?" And he said, "Isn't it beautiful? God, I love that color." And I said, "Well, it's nice, but it was black. It was meant to be black." And it was my first encounter with synthetic fabrics, which turned things into very different colors. Yeah. Anyway, he taught me about additive light. Those of you lighting designers know that term. I never had heard of it before. And he made it so that the coat was actually, the cape, what was like a bat cape, was actually black. But actually, I liked the copper after I saw it. And we did both ways. Sometimes it had this copper aura, and sometimes it was black. It's very interesting. Sorry, one collaboration. So I should stop. I teach also at the University of Connecticut, and I'm actually the head of the design program, more than just the costume program.
Color and costume. I remember well a costume designer talking to me about this peach-colored costume. Yeah. And we had a paragraph of conversation before she said, "But of course it's not peach, it's apricot. The problem is it looks peach."
That's a refinement.
That is a refinement.
Right.
It's interesting, Len, you talked about respect. When I was putting together notes on this about how collaboration works, because there's all sorts of different collaborations. As a lighting designer, you work really closely with directors, and you develop it late in this rehearsal period, particularly the relationship of trust and the ability to accomplish. And when that works well, and I'm in thinking about this, I could think of a couple instances in the last years where it worked particularly well. There were two things involved. One is trust. You believe that, in my case, the director's going to do things perhaps as of yet unknown that will work with what I'm going to do. And space, because you have to give people space to do it. And the reverse is that true. The director, he, and in one case she, has to believe that even if it's not looking like what they think it should look like right now, maybe tomorrow or the next day it will. And you choose your elements of conversation that relate to those specifics. You have to have respect with who you're working with in order to really collaborate well, whatever collaborate means. And part of that is giving the people the time and space to really do their job. I mean, as a lighting designer, much of what theater comes together in that last week. And you have to believe, as an artist, you have to believe that what you will come up with will be good. And the people you work with have to believe that also. And a lot of times it comes with trust and humor and ways that go that way. One of the things that I wanted to mention was we were talking about collaboration and thinking about what collaboration means to us. But I was interested to see when I got here that the title of this event is actually Experience and Wisdom. And I happen to believe, coming from my perspective in life, that with experience comes wisdom. And that experience is often very hard to explain to someone else. I work with many young people as well as many colleagues of my superior age and experience. But certain things come up. In addition to lighting design, I'm a production manager, for the want of a better word, production director. I oversee and decide, in a way, what can be done and what can't be done early on. It must be very similar to things that you do. And in some way, with your experience, whatever that is, and in my case, I've been designing lights for over 50 years, from the time that it started with circuit breakers and some handles to more advanced times. But all of that adds together with the view of our business and our craft and our art of listening to ideas from creative people who get together to do something, and in a way, from a managerial point of view, believing that people can do that. We can do that. Okay, this all sounds right. Or listening to things that say, well, you know, time, money, space, distance, all of these things, real estate, you know, it's probably not, you know, we might go a different direction.
Yeah.
And often it's really hard to define all of the details that support what experience, at least in my view, tells me about how to guide things that are happening. So,
you know, producers used to be more committed to trying to get us all together to collaborate, but since the price of airlines has gone up, they've been less and less so. When I first started, there was always a separate designer meeting that was way before the production even started. That no longer exists. And they say, well, can't you meet by Skype? But Skype isn't, I don't know, Skype is not the same. You're like the odd person in the room, you know, during Skype. You feel like you're interrupting people when you actually say something on Skype.
Well, it's interesting when you're doing with 3 different languages on Skype.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
that too.
You know, Michael, I'm just your comment about wisdom and experience is interesting, because there are situations you get into that where you're not respected for your experience, and it becomes a financial situation, and it doesn't matter how much wisdom you're trying to bring to bear. There is another element in a lot of our work that is the financial and the cost of it. And we are in situations on major theaters. We've done 6 of the permanent Cirque du Soleil in theaters in Las Vegas and one in Macau. But we're working on some Chinese projects now with another production company, and what happens is there's a budget, there's an agreement that is made by decision makers very early on that have nothing to do with the process of putting a building together for their creative entity, and there are limitations that are set from the beginning. And what is interesting in the beginning of we'll call it a collaborative process, you're setting a process that may be 4 or 5 years, depending on the project. The creative team doesn't come on until much later, when you're just working from early storyboards or a concept, and then it's time to change, because their creative process and their collaboration is a lot different than the architectural design team. And you're dealing with engineers that are meeting their deadlines, and they want to get the pilings in the ground and everything. And you're saying, well, if we go this direction, it's going to cost X number of dollars more. And they'll say, well, it's the production that was sold. And so we have to, as I said in the beginning, we're in the middle. We have to communicate these crazy differences to people in a way that we can come out in the end with a product that satisfies the owner, the architect, and the show producer. And it has been, for me, one of the most challenging and stimulating experiences that I've had in all these years. And we've been doing these kinds of venues for 12 years now, and it's very dynamic. And you have to be flexible and not dictatorial. You have to respect each other. You have to know when to sort of give way.
Well, let me bring up a question for all of you. This element of time. You have to be in on a project at the right time. I can't see everybody in the room, but how many hands would come up if I asked for the show of hands, were you brought in on whatever projects you're working on at the appropriate time, the required time?
And many times, yes.
Yeah, but not always.
Not always, no.
Yeah. No. You're lucky when you're in at the right time.
Yeah.
Laura, are
Well,
you?
you know, it's kind of interesting because often you'll be presented with a set design and the director has everything already set. They've created the firmament that you have to
Yes.
put the people into. And I think that's really too bad. As I said, I think it should start with lighting, if anything, and then costumes and scenery last. Because,
Not the way it works.
yeah, it never works that way.
Although, Len, what you described reminds me, I've been doing a number of devised theater works lately, which follow the kind of problems that you just described, because in traditional theater, you create some ideas together separately, it's going to be like this, then you work through to accomplish them well, and of course you're flexible to change and so forth. But my experience with devised theater is it can change on a dime, and it can change from black to white or to anything. Something, you know, elements that were totally never spoken about, all of a sudden can be an idea and can become important. And as this relates to time, time always goes down in what you can accomplish over time. The later decisions are made, the less you can do with it. And in the collaborative process, being positive about those potential changes and realistic about ability to accomplish, given the amount of time left, is just the process. I mean, and the same difficulties of not being able to accomplish what's desired only because it came about, 2 weeks before the show and not 2 months before the show.
I have a situation right now. We completed our schematic design deliverable on a major production theater, and the owner finally came to grips with the fact that the excavation for this project was going to be horrendously expensive, mainly because of the site that they were providing. And so here everything is done and schematic designs. We have all the theater systems pretty much conceived and everything. And we've got an email 2 days ago. We want to raise the building 5 meters out of the ground. Well, actually, the public spaces don't work, and the entry points, getting access to the audience, all the exiting changes, and not only the level of the stage and servicing would change, but this is within days of completing a deliverable. So what do? You have to go along with this and make the changes or a compromise that will make it come up with a better solution. But these dictatorial things that come from this hierarchical situation can require the utmost skill of collaboration. And there you have it.
I love chaos. I love last-minute decisions. I love thinking on my feet. It makes me feel completely vital and alive. It's my favorite part of theater. It's always spontaneous. And budgets don't really matter. You're only as good as your stock or, whatever you can dredge out of the streets, whatever you can pull out of your closet. It's amazing how you can manipulate a budget if you just have a lot of creative thinking about putting things together out of nothing.
But you're not pouring concrete around the house.
No, it's true.
Not quite. Do you use the word no?
Never.
Never. Okay.
You're not allowed to say no to the director.
That's right.
You can kind of nudge no to the actor sometimes.
Okay.
But actors then go behind your back and talk to the director and say, I want, and then the director comes back and says, now come on, you've got to do what the actor wants in this case. So the actor always wins.
I preach that you never say no, that if there's an idea that wants to happen, the answer is always, yes, we could do that. We need to bring in 4 more people to work all night tonight and get it tomorrow. Talk to the money people to get this done. Let's do it.
Yeah, you find it. You say yes, and you find a way. That's in everything in theater. If you're going to start a new job, they say, "Can you do this?" Yeah, you do. You go back and study all night long and figure out how you're going to do it for the next day. That's how you get ahead. Nobody's going to tell you exactly how to do everything. You have to be a creative thinker and move forward on your own. Sorry, I started preachy.
I'll change the subject a little bit because I believe that lately in my teaching, I'm a teacher, I've decided that collaboration in teaching is one of the most important aspects. The considering of the group being a bunch of students and me, as collaborators working towards something. And in my case, it's particularly important because in many of the things that I'm doing with the students, they actually have more knowledge and more technical ability to accomplish what we're talking about is a project. I'm not talking about designing a lighting for a show, but I'm thinking of a large-scale project that's involved right now, which is the building of a video wall, and includes a whole lot of computer programming and data distribution and things that the students, in fact, know better than I. Because I have some wisdom and some experience, I can advise on how to get a project done, and I can force them to organize their thoughts and present them in a way that they can refine what they need to do. But it comes through mutually having to understand what each person is requiring. I have to respect what they bring to and what they're going to be able to do. They have to, in fact, listen to me and do a flow chart or a block diagram or the information that helps them solidify their thoughts in a way to really accomplish it. So I've come to believe strongly in teaching in group projects and the basic concept of collaboration between the two groups, either me and them as the students or the students who are working together.
You know, Jim Tinsley, who was the production manager at the Children's Theater in Minneapolis years ago, told me about something called the siege mentality. Have you heard about this? The Army trains people in the theater so that they learn that they all have to work together to get to a goal. So that's how they work in the Army. They can only do it if they all get together. So that's true of theater. It's one of the few things in the world where you can't reach your goal without each other equally pushing towards the same goal. And it's magnificent for that reason. I think you bond with people in a way that you don't bond in any other profession. Maybe buildings, you do.
Well, I don't know. When you talk about the military, there is a hierarchy, and you do what you're told. and it's one of the things that when you're in business and you have a client and you're expected to do what you're told and it's not correct in your mind, you have to find a proper way of negotiating and a process that will allow you to be in a strong position when negotiating. You know, there's a martial arts philosophy from Jigoro Kano, the founder of judo, called Taisabaki. It means giving way. It puts you in a stronger position, and you can do that in your daily life in a way of understanding what the situation is, and when it becomes a conflict, and how to turn it into something that's very positive.
Sure, yeah, I think it's always smart to compromise early on and pick your battles. I know everybody says that, but there are things that are very important to each designer in their own situation, and you need to hold on to those. And you can bend a little on the other things. And I'm very happy to leave some costumes till later so an actor can really figure out who they want to be and what they want to do in their costume. And we just start on that one later. Start on the other ones earlier. There are a lot of things you can do to be flexible. Before Michael dies, do we need to finish?
Let me just say something. I want to end on a happy note, but some of this is a little sad. Michael, in going through Webster's, reading definitions of collaboration, I do want to mention that. When you read the definition, the collaborator is the person who is working with the enemy.
And we're
and this goes back to France in World War II, if you know the history, and other wars certainly. It's just interesting.
I mentioned before we had a client that we were meeting with the show producer and talking about things, and finally he said, "Don't talk to them. Don't talk to them. I'm paying your bills. Don't talk to them."
Right.
I said, "But it's our responsibility to help get the show on." And so he considered us as collaborators in the negative way.
In the negative way. Yeah. Well, I would like to, first of all, ask all of you to give a hand for these three very brave people. This has been an experiment. I think it's worked well. I thank you for being part of the conversation. And part of our dream is the conversation will continue beyond tonight. We have lots of time together at the conference and spend time talking about collaboration. Everybody must have a few war stories out there.
Yep.
But thank you very much.
Thank you
this
all.
was a pleasure.
And we'll all be around.
We will be around. Okay,
Well, this is us. We get up and we get to go now?
we get to go. Yes, my dear.
We've done our thing. Oops, I said
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to the fellows for your insight and wisdom. USITT's fellows are an amazing repository of information that all of us need to take the opportunity to investigate and learn from. Please, I know that Randy invited everyone to join him at the Nexus, which is at the end of the 600 aisle in the Stage Expo area. That invitation is open to everyone. Take the opportunity to get to know the people who are there and the people who are wearing these red ribbons. They've got a lot to share and a lot of wisdom that we can all use to learn from. They are amazing contributors to our industry. They're amazing contributors to our institute. 2015 marks the 20th year of Young Designer and Technician Awards. At this point, I'd like to ask Dick Heisel to join me. In 1995, Richard Heisel of KM Fabrics had an idea. He wanted to present the Technical Production Award and did so to Eric Wallstad. This is one of 3 pictures that exist. The other 2 are out of focus and look like everyone's in witness protection. Eric was with us until about 3 o'clock today. He's the technical and safety manager at the San Francisco Opera. He had to return immediately back to San Francisco for meetings tomorrow. He wishes he could have been with us just so you two could cross paths again. All of the winners of the KM Fabrics Award from the last 20 years are leading technical managers in our industry. Alice Holden is the director of production at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. Brian Stockmaster is the vice president and general manager of Chicago Scenic Studios. Scott Kahn is the production manager at the Goodman Theater. Paul Bruner teaches technical direction at Indiana University. Jonathan Reed is the production manager at the Yale Repertory Theater. What's the most exciting about those 2 people is that they have each been instrumental in the education of additional KM Fabrics winners who have followed in their footsteps. Mary Weber Black and Scott Wolfson learned under Paul Bruner. Amanda Haley, Bona Lee, and C. Nikki Mills learned at the Yale School of Drama. All of this lineage that has affected our industry to a positive manner is because one man had an idea. And now, 20 years in, we owe this gentleman here a huge round of thanks for everything he's done. Thank you. Sir?
Thank you very much for the applause, and I'll be brief. Don't you hate it when the minister puts his watch in front of him? I appreciate the fact that Leonard Auerbach mentioned the word compromise when he said collaboration. Whatever is done in this world between 2 people of different ideas and opinions, there has to be compromise to succeed. Also, I hope Leonard and KM Fabrics can collaborate again soon on some projects that he's working on. First, give me a minute or so for a personal note. Yesterday morning at 6:15, my wife Gwen dropped me off at the Myrtle Beach International Airport. And when I went through security check, I was putting my wallet, my keys, my checkbook, and everything in the ugly little gray basket. And the security agent came over to me and said, "Take off your shoes and your jacket." And I said, "Sir, I'm 80. He said, "Okay, leave on your shoes leave on your jacket, but do you have any implants? I thought for a second, and I said, no, sir, I don't think so. But I realized later that last year I got a cortisone shot in my left knee so I could continue to play tennis, but I didn't tell him that. Just think that some of you in this room, for the next 50 to 60 years, will have to take your shoes and your jacket and whatever else is demanded of you while you go through airports. Not very often does a person have the opportunity and the privilege to introduce to the USITT a successor and also the successor's successor. Bob Lewis will retire from our company in November, and it is my pleasure to introduce to the Institute Mr. Paul Tantillo, who will lead KM Fabrics into the future. He has assured me that he will cooperate fully with the USITT, and I tell you now that if he falters, I would certainly expect a call from you, and I can certainly get it taken care of quickly. Paul will raise the heights of KM Fabrics and also the height of KM Velours in the new heights as Len Auerbach's proscenium openings will become higher and legs will become longer. Please welcome Paul Tantillo, who will present the 20th KM Fabrics Award for Technical Production for 2015. Thank you and farewell. I hope everyone in this room has a long, fruitful, and wonderful life. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Paul Tantillo. KM is leading supplier of velour fabrics to the theatrical industry and has long been a supporter of USITT in recognizing young designers and technicians in the performing arts. As you know by now, KM has participated in celebrating student achievement and has given this Technical Production Award for our 20th straight year. This year we had a number of outstanding nominations. Nominees have had to cite examples of work that featured an individual's creative application of technical direction, production management in the performing arts, as well as citing examples in construction, rigging, drafting, and engineering. In 2015, one individual's achievement stood out from all other nominations. This young man in May will be graduating from the University of Wisconsin with a master's degree in fine arts and theater. John's background has included numerous experiences working for various theater companies in Wisconsin and Chicago. In reading John's nominations and recommendations, there were repeated themes that stood out for me: outstanding communicator, taking charge in challenging situations, a very effective manager of resources. But the one comment that stood out for me was that John is truly a gifted technical director whom has demonstrated such clear potential for greatness and will develop into one of the treasures of our industry. I would like to present to you this year's winner of the 2015 KM Fabrics Technical Award, John Van Arsdale.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
And as is customary, I'm going to give you a shuttle loom which is engraved with John Van Arsdale, KM Fabrics, Technical Production Award for 2015. For those of you that are not familiar with the Flying Shuttle, the shuttle is one of the key technology developments that industrialized textile weaving, and it has allowed for further automation of textile looms, and it is essential, as well as the technical director is essential in any production. So congratulations, and thank you. I'll bring it back. I'll hold it back in the seat for you. Awesome. Can you hold that certificate for you as well?
I can just set it right up.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say thank you so much to Mr. Tantillo as well as Mr. Heisel. Thank you so much to USITT for your support of young theater professionals, for students especially. And I also wanted to say a special thanks to Dan Lazowski and Rob Wagner for their mentorship during my time at the University of Wisconsin. Thank you very much.
(1998) saw the addition of 3 design awards: the USITT Lighting Design Award, sponsored by the Barbizon Lighting Company, the Zelma H. Weisfeld Costume Design and Technology Award, and the USITT Scene Design Award, sponsored by Rosebrand. Today, past recipients of those awards are designing throughout the world, working in all aspects of our industry. It's my pleasure now to introduce Jonathan Resnick, President of Barbizon Lighting, and Kenneth Foster, winner of the 2015 USITT Lighting Design Award, sponsored by Barbizon.
The lighting guys are in the house. By the way, it's bathed in orange because Kenny is a graduate, or going to soon be a graduate, of the University of Tennessee. So thank you, crew. I'm really pleased on behalf of the entire Barbizon family to present our 19th Barbizon Lighting Award here at USITT to Kenny Foster of the University of Tennessee. And I just want you to know, Kenny came about being a lighting designer in a really roundabout way. He was scenic in undergrad until that senior year when, I don't want to say this, but he kind of saw the light and said, you know, I really like the, listen, there's so many lighting jokes, we can go on. But, so he kind of said, you know what, I really, really love this stuff. And he threw his head into it, stayed an extra year, did every imaginable lighting course at the University of Mississippi, and said, I'm going to graduate with a lighting degree. And he did, a BFA in lighting. He then worked in the business and then ended up at the University of Tennessee. He's had 2 great mentors, what Ken has said, and it's Michael Barnett, who was at University of Mississippi, and Kent Yeager, who's probably in the audience here from the University of Tennessee, both of whom have really, really, to Kenny's words, really pushed him in both a sophistication and imagination that you have to bring every day to this business. And I talked to one of your colleagues who said about you, you know, Kenny comes from Texas, and that's important to know because his heart is as big as the state of Texas. And when working with his team around him, he brings a happy face to everybody, and as a result, the work is always better when working with Kenny. That's about as good a compliment as you will ever get. So, okay, maybe when you're a little older, or, you know, whatever. Kenny is hoping to move into, when he graduates, into theater for young audiences. So, like I say to everybody out here and to him, network, network, network. This is the place to do it. Many past winners of the Barbizon Lighting Award are doing work both on Broadway and in far-flung places across the globe. It's great stuff. Enjoy. Congratulations to all your great work.
So this is awesome. I want to say thank you to USITT. It's my first year here, and it has been fantastic. And I also want to say a huge thanks to Barbizon, who have just been amazing as well. And Short and sweet. Thanks.
Come here. One quick surprise. It was an idea that came along, but this is the top half of a lighting piece. This is so you can beat up the guys with the weaving. Oh. But there'll be a lighted base so that when it sits on your desk or in your home, you can look at it and know of your achievements for now and forever. And by the way, it's with an LED lamp, so it'll last for a long time.
To continue the dynamic work of our esteemed designers, please welcome Ms. Zelma Weisfeld and Maureen Friedman, the 2015 recipient of the Zelma H. Weisfeld Costume Design and Technology Award.
Maureen is a lovely and very talented costume designer with a long list of design credits internationally for one so young. Her work covers Israel, the UK, and the United States. She was already an accomplished designer when she went to UConn to study with Laura Crow. She will earn her MFA in the spring. I was first impressed with Maureen's talent when she presented design and technology work at the Young Designers Forum last year. I spent some time talking with her, not anticipating that she would be the winner of the Young Designers Award in Costume Design. She was the unanimous choice of the judges. I'm certain Maureen will have a bright future in costume design and that the future is coming fast. Congratulations. The check is in the mail.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here and giving us your time this evening. First, thank you to Ms. Zelma Weisfeld for making this award possible. Thank you also to the adjudicating team for their consideration, their time and their input evaluating my work, and believing my work deserved this honor. Thank you also to Professor Laura Crow for nominating me and for giving me the wonderful opportunity to enhance my creativity through a most generous scholarship to UConn. Thank you also to Messrs. Paul Mullins and Scott Ripley, who supported my nomination, to all the directors, technicians, performers, and crew who worked with me to help realize our ideas. Finally, thank you very much to Mr. Heisel for initiating these awards and to the U.S. Institute of Theatre Technology for their support.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Jeff Flowers of Rosebrand and the 2015 winner of the USITT Scene Design Award sponsored by Rosebrand, Mr. Josephat Reynoso.
Every year we give away this award. For the last many years we've given away this award, and we get a lot of submissions that come in to our offices, and it's very difficult to put these things together and to look at them. And so in the end, basically, we take these submissions, and as some of you do, your professors, I know when I was in grad school, my professors did, we throw them up in the air, and the ones that hit at the top are the ones that we give the award to. So Joe's submission got to the top of the list. It was that easy. That's not true. You know this. But Lonnie, you know that is true, though. You know that's how you did that. No, we go over these things. We take several months, obviously, a lot of levels in our organization, look at them. And so it's really no accidents that at the end of this process, we come out with some wonderful new designers that are going to be in our industry, and it's exciting to see this process happen, and these people, the cream rises to the top, if you will. So this year, our award goes to Joe Reynoso from the University of Tennessee, third-year graduate student, and we're very pleased to give that to you. Absolutely. You got it.
I always wanted to be a scenic designer since I first set foot on the theater. I thought it was the coolest thing ever, and I still do. I owe a big deal to the University of Tennessee for the opportunity of studying in this country, and well, to USITT and now to Rose Brand. So, viva the United States of America, viva Mexico, viva el teatro. Thank you.
In 1999, USITT established two distinctly different awards. The Makeup Design Award, now sponsored by Krylon Professional Makeup, and the Dr. Bernard R. Works Frederick A. Berkey Scenic Technology Award, affectionately known as the Golden Hammer. Many former winners now hold faculty positions. One former winner of the Golden Hammer supervised what you're seeing up here tonight. They work in commercial industries, they tour around the country, and there's a wide range of experience among these honorees. Another Golden Hammer Award not only taught this evening's KM Fabrics winner, John Van Arsdale, but has 2 Rose Bowl rings. Please welcome to the stage Ulrika Beige of Krylon Professional Makeup and Cha Cha Fung, recipient of the 2015 USITT Makeup Design Award, sponsored by Krylon Professional Makeup.
Good evening. My name is Ulrika Beige, and it's my honor as District Manager for Krylon Professional Makeup to present this year's USITT Makeup Design Award. It's been said of this year's winner that she has for some time, and continues to do so, put her whole heart and soul into her project. She came with a substantial portfolio of professional experience, including her work in theater production like The Winter's Tale, and a list of film, including her new student film project, Just a Body, where she has been successfully involved in the concept and design. She's currently in her 3rd year of graduate studies at the University of North Carolina School of the Arts for Production and Design, and it is no surprise that her professors are praising her for her extreme professionalism and high standards. It is always easy to sit up and take notice. What is difficult is standing up and taking action. Today we are celebrating the fact that someone stood up and took that action. Today we are celebrating enthusiasm, commitment, and sheer hard work. Ladies and gentlemen, please acknowledge this year's USITT Makeup Design Award winner, Cha Cha Fung.
Hi everyone. My name is Cha Cha Fung. I come from Taiwan. This is my 3rd year in USA. Currently, I'm a 3rd year graduate student in the weekend makeup design program at the University of North Carolina School of the Arts. I really appreciate USITT and Krylon Corporation for offering me this opportunity so I can stand here and represent my school. UNCSA, thank you. Also to my instructor, Michael Meyer and Crystal Shans. Thanks USITT. Thanks President Lee Asbiel Stronger, Executive Director David Grundle, and thank Member Servers Associate Shanna Holger, who helped me a lot to complete uploading my artwork and the application process. Finally, I really thank my award sponsor, Krylon Corporation, Claudia Longo, and Ulrika Beige, all a decade, and whoever affirms my performance. This is a meaningful and memorable moment, and I will continue striving to improve. In the near future, I hope I will be able to contribute my expertise to deliver high-quality movies, television shows, and stage performance around the world. Thank you very much.
Please welcome Dr. Bernard Works and James Rogers, the recipient of the 2015 Frederick A. Berkey Golden Hammer Award.
Hi, guys. Jim Rogers, the winner of the Golden Hammer this year, will receive a master's degree this spring from Pennsylvania Penn State University. In viewing his impressive resume, I am confident that he will have a successful career in theater or the entertainment business. After completing his undergraduate degree at the University of Northern Colorado in August 2013, he became their senior carpenter and technical director at Greeley, Colorado. His further training includes Fundamentals of Rigging with Jay Leno, The Real Basics. He participated in the ETPC Theatrical Rigging Certification, and that's in progress, CNC router and the plasma operations at USITT in 2011. In 2014, OSHA 30-hour general industry training with 5-year certification. In Thomas Trust Engineering and Rigging experience, he worked for them in Knoxville in early 2014. And what makes a truss system safe. As a technical director at Northern Colorado, Greeley, he established production budgets, taught scenery skills and building techniques for students and the professional staff in the scene shop. James took advantage of pursuing every opportunity to better prepare himself for his chosen career. With his talents and determination in the academic or professional world, I believe he will have a successful and very rewarding career. Here's his Golden Hammer. Man's first tool, man's first weapon, peace. Talk about collaboration.
Thank you, Guy. I want to take a quick second to thank USITT for sponsoring these awards and for Dr. Works for sponsoring this award in particular. Scenic technology is something that, although the fellows talked about collaboration, it really needs it. Without collaboration, it would be a considerably more boring type of field. So I wanted to thank my nominator, Jason Winfield, my mentor, Eric Rouse, and my wonderful wife for always supporting me in this. Thank you very much.
The turn of the century saw the creation of a Stage Management Award, much to my personal happiness, sponsored by Clearcom Communications. This award came about in 2001. At the same time, Stage Decorations and Supplies created the W. Orrin Parker Undergraduate Scene Design Award in 2002. Former winners of the Scene Design Award can be found doing things as creative as corporate design in Japan, while our stage managers can be found in festivals, Cirque du Soleil, and touring around the country. Please welcome James Schaller, Northeast Regional Manager of Clearcom Communications, and our 2015 Stage Management Award winner, Tyler Jacobson.
Thank you. We are certainly pleased to be part of USITT year after year, and also to be awarding this, or making this award and this recognition this evening. If you speak with Tyler for more than a couple of minutes, one of the things that become very apparent is that he has done from my point of view, he has really managed to create the habit of being passionate about what he does. That is so important today, and I feel that the people who today can not only get in the habit of finding their passion and articulate it with excellence are people who will succeed at anything they endeavor to undertake. Speaking with Tyler earlier, he mentioned that he'd actually been for a couple of years in a pre-med program. Okay, so a pre-med program, and I was thinking to myself, well, the world of theater has certainly gained a new talent, and I was trying to think about what kind of specialist the world of medicine lost. So I'll let you fill in that blank there. David Zack, who was a stage manager, I believe? Yep. Was a stage manager on Beauty and the Beast, and Tyler here spent a few years with them touring. He had a quote, and I'll read this little excerpt. This is David Zack. I have tried to bribe Tyler to come back and work with me because he is someone I want to work with, but school kept winning out. He really should win. And I congratulate you on finishing your program, your master's degree at Carnegie Mellon in May. So overall, congratulations on finding your passion and meeting it with excellence. Well done.
Thank you.
And here is your very own headset. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. So, quick thank you to go with everyone else's. I just want to say thank you to ClearCom and James for sponsoring the award. Thank you to my professors at Carnegie Mellon, Tina Shackelford and Molly McCarter. Special thanks to Scott Olinger for convincing me that I could make a career in theater and to give up being a pre-med major. Thank you, yes. My parents were real thrilled with that conversation. Yes, and thank you to my parents for being understanding and supporting me through all of this. Thank you to everyone at USITT for the opportunity, and thank you all for coming.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Eric Lowell of Stage Decorations and Supplies, along with Greg Pinsino, recipient of this year's W. Orrin Parker Scene Design Award.
Thank you. Yeah, it says hold for applause. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm with Stage Decoration, which is down in Greensboro, North Carolina, where it's generally sunny and warm. And the iced tea is sweetened. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm very pleased and proud to present this award this year to, and I'm going to make sure I get this name right. Is it Greg? Greg, I got the Pinso. No. Pinso. It's a joke. I've been working on it all day long. But thank you for all of your incredible hard work and your submissions and your time you spent with us today. We got to learn a lot about you and about your time at DePaul University. And so thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
First of all, a huge thank you to Shane Kelly for nominating me for this award to begin with. Thank you to Jim Irvin, Eric Lowell, and Stage Decoration and Supplies Incorporated for sponsoring this award and reminding me that a lot can be said for the first 3 images that appear of you on Google image search. I promise, 9 times out of 10, the makeup's for class. So thank you to my mom, dad, and relatives for their constant support, even when I insist that the show's only running for the weekend, so you really don't have to come, I promise. And you know, my apartment hasn't been cleaned in 3 months, and I've just started buying new clothes instead of washing them. Yeah, dinner at 9 sounds great. So, thank you to my advisors and mentors, Linda Buchanan, Jack McGaugh, and Kevin Depinet, for helping shape my design philosophy and always making me consider the why as opposed to the how. My time at DePaul University has allowed me to develop in a safe, encouraging environment with both the means and talent to carry out unique and occasionally insane ideas. And for that, I am incredibly grateful. Finally, thank you to USITT for proving to me that this career can be both too good to be true and a very realistic option. This is my first time at the conference, and I have been overwhelmed by the exciting developments and opportunities happening across the board. I cannot wait to see where I fit into the grand scheme of things, and I look forward to working with everyone I have met thus far. Thank you very much.
In 2005, our friends at Live Design Magazine funded the Rising Star Award, which goes to celebrate the work of an early career professional. Recipients of the Rising Star have their work on Broadway, the American Ballet Theatre, Jimmy Kimmel's television show, Arena Stage, London's Royal Ballet, and Cincinnati's Playhouse in the Park. Please welcome David Johnson and Ellen Lampert-Grayo of Live Design Magazine and the latest designer to join this rank of rising stars, Mr. Chris Wood.
Hi, everybody. I'm David, obviously, not Ellen. Hello in the back. I see people way back there. How are you? So this is the 11th year we've given out the Rising Star, and Chris, who's our recipient this year, we realized he was also a recipient a couple years ago of one of our Meyer Scholarship winners to the Broadway Sound Master classes. So he's clearly a man on the move, both on the lighting and the sound side. He has joined a list of such talented designers as Justin Townsend, Dan Brody, Alicia Itup, Sean Savoy, and many, many more. As a Meyer Scholarship winner, if there's anybody in the sound world out there who wants to attend our Live Design Master classes, Meyer Scholarship's a great way to get in there for free, which is always good, I know, for you guys. And we'll give out a couple of passes to the master classes tomorrow at our booth. So stop by our booth tomorrow if you're interested in attending the event this year. I will now turn it over to Ellen, who's going to tell you all about Mr. Wood.
Thank you, David. It's interesting, as David, can you hear me? As David noted that Chris was also one of our Meyer Sound winners. I like to think of him as a sort of equal opportunity designer. He does 75% lighting and 25% sound. And in terms of collaboration, I'm not sure if he's ever collaborated with himself, but he certainly agrees with the panel that was here before where lighting design should come in first, not last, to the equation. He also, he's from Nebraska and is pretty much rooted in the Midwest for the time being, although I think he would go to Broadway if someone invited him. And he's already not only graduated, gotten his master's degree, he's already teaching, which is really quite something. And he works in a summer music festival in Utah, the Opera and Music Theater Festival there, working on 4 productions at least in rep, balancing the demands of the directors, the costume designers, and the other designers. So he's really into the collaboration scene. And if there's anyone out there who is a manufacturer, he's also, I'm going to read you a little something because we have our digital edition of the magazine now. And if you download the March issue, you will see a whole story about Chris, so I'm not going to go into much more about him. But he says he is eagerly awaiting someone to develop a moving light with an LED source, shutter module, gobo wheel, and an animation wheel. So that's a challenge to any of you who are out there. And with that, I would like to present him with his Rising Star Award. Thank you. You're more than welcome.
You can find me in the back of the room if you have a light like that. Just appreciate it. Thank you, Live Design. Greatly appreciate it. Appreciate the master classes. Appreciate this award. Thank you, USITT, or wherever Grindle is and everybody. Thank you again. It's a great honor to follow such highly noted designers. I'd like to also thank my undergrad professors, University of Nebraska, Omaha, for being patient with me, for not being the best student in the world during that time. A little more focused on the lighting than my academics. And I appreciate my professors from Indiana University for my master's of pushing me to the next level where I needed to go. I would also like to thank Stephen Workman from Utah Festival Opera for giving me the place to push it further and further lighting-wise, and then having the patience for me to go, oh, I went a little too far with that, and bring it back. So thank you. And then I believe, I'm going to guess, I'm going to probably bet my dinner, that everybody in the room at some point in here has been on a crew at some point. Everybody that has won an award tonight has been, their stuff is because they had a crew that supported them and was there for them and helped them reach the reality of what they're trying to create on stage. Please give a round to all the people in here that have served on a crew at some point. Electrician, wardrobe, everything. Let's have a round of applause for everybody. So thank you to my crew members. If you're around, you make everything happen. Thank you.
Our final two awards were just started last year, and each honors a skilled craftsperson entering our industry. Dr. Bernard Works felt that he hadn't done enough for USITT and young people, so he established the Master Craftsmanship Award, which each year goes to a different area of craftsmanship. Judy Adamson helped to establish the Barbara Matera Award for costume making. Dr. Works is also an incredibly humble human being, and he said, "Oh, I shouldn't be up there twice." So I would like to ask Emily Morrissey to join me on stage. Dr. Works noted the following things. Emily presents an extensive resume of considerable experiences in stage properties. In 2 short years, she was on the staff or a student at the State University of New York in Purchase, Maine State Music Theater, Twin City Stages in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the North Carolina School of the Arts, Sleep No More in New York City as their properties manager, the Public Theater in New York, and the Williamstown Theater Festival. When did you sleep? Her skills in upholstery, painting, casting and molding, woodworking, and cost estimating amongst all of it, while supervising crews, her skills are remarkable and are testified to in her recommendations. Her friendly smile is indicative of her enthusiasm for theater, but it belies a steely determination to get the job done well and on time. Emily's talents with her work ethics make her a deserving winner of this award. And Dr. Works believes that every prop master should be ready for every occasion. So I think this thing does everything but make your coffee. And it is part of your award and a gift from him to you. So please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome the first properties master to receive the Master Craftsman Award, Emily Morrissey.
I am incredibly honored to be the recipient of the 2015 Master Craftsmanship Award in Stage Properties. Thank you to Bernard Works for sponsoring the award and for always supporting the young designers and technicians in this industry who, like myself, are passionate and driven to do what they love. I can't quite recall when the exact moment was that I knew I needed to be working in props, but 2 years into college as a stage management student, and I had found myself transferring to the Stage Properties program at the University of North Carolina School of the Arts. Throughout my experiences, I have found that props is a field in which education and exploration will never cease. With each new project, I am both a historian and an inventor, combining research and creative ideas to produce each prop. My professor, Bland Wade, always says that a good prop person is a jack of all trades, but a master of none. I never thought that I would be learning how to build furniture, how to upholster, or how to make fake food actually look appetizing, but I love how diverse and interesting my job can be. I have been incredibly fortunate to have learned the skills of a properties master and artisan from Bland, but more importantly, I am so thankful for the trust and support that he has given me. To me, this award is a celebration of my mentors and professors who have encouraged me to follow my passion. I have found happiness in stage properties and am thrilled to start my new chapter in life as a working professional. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Tonight, we're honored to welcome someone who, along with Judy Adamson, got to work with Barbara Matera and learn the craft from her. To present the 2015 Barbara Matera Award, please welcome Heather Millam and our recipient, Colleen Dobson.
I'm honored to present the Barbara Matera Award in Costume Making to Colleen Dobson. She's in her final year of study for an MFA in Costume Production at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. The work she has produced is spectacular. She's a talented draper, dressmaker, and an accomplished tailor. Her attention to fine detail and problem-solving abilities would have made Barbara proud. According to the glowing letters of reference, she is also an excellent teacher, attentive to the needs of her class. She inspires future generations of costume makers to become better in what their craft will be. She sets the bar for excellence in classwork and production, and these qualities inherently qualify her for this prestigious award. Congratulations, Colleen.
My love of sewing began early, first with lacing cards and shoelaces, and then with needle and thread. My mom always let me help when she had mending to do, and soon I was making small projects with sewing machine. I made my first Halloween costume in the 6th grade. My family says that my skills come from my great-grandmother, who was known for her ingenuity with fabric and patterns. In high school, I learned that my sewing skills could be put to use in the theater, and I had my first internship in a university costume shop at Appalachian State University. From then until now, I have always had wonderful mentors who have helped me learn and pointed me in the right direction for success and to realize my potential. Thank you to Alice Neff and Sue Williams for getting me started. Thanks to Lisa Martin Stewart and Spencer Henderson at the University of South Carolina for laying good foundations. Thank you for Judy Adamson for all of the knowledge you have passed on. Thank you to everyone who has helped me so far on my professional path, and to everyone I will meet in the future. I look forward to working with you all.
20 years of young designers and technicians. I don't think Mr. Heisel had this in mind when he thought I'd just give an award to honor someone who does good work. Let us again thank him for this initiative that has gotten us here today. USITT has honored well over 150 young designers, many of whom of those designers and technicians are still with us this evening. If you are a past winner of a Young Designer and Technician Award, would you please stand? It may only look like a few, but it's actually quite a bit because many of them are standing working in scene shops, theaters, touring houses, and educational institutions around the country because somebody's got a show tonight. They always complain we booked this conference over their tech. We do appreciate you being with us this evening. Tomorrow morning in this room, on this stage at 9:30, we will be having the Distinguished Achievement winners in conversation. Along with that will be the presentation of the first Wally Russell Professional Mentoring Award to Ken Billington. This award was established because, as young designers and technicians know, we have our mentors in the academic world that get us started. But once you get into the profession, the mentoring never stops. USITT is about making sure that we all take care of one another and provide knowledge in all directions and support for one another as we work. Ken Billington is the first winner of this award and one that we look forward to recognizing, the first of many, as we continue to support the idea of mentoring. I hope to see you again in the morning at 9:30, and thank you again for joining us. Good night.